Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike. And as always, we're diving on in. So folks, obviously we know tonight, the Lions, they play the Cowboys. It's a big game, massive game, with equally massive implications in regards to the playoffs for both teams, but especially more so for the Detroit Lions. Now, I know that for many Lions fans, how this game goes is either going to help give them a ray of hope, continue to have that ray of hope, and continue to look at things in a positive outlook, or it's going to, further solidify, further reinforce the fact of, the Detroit Lions are not a good team and that things need to change for, this offseason in a number of ways. And I've already talked at least a little bit about what I think the Detroit Lions need to do for this game in order to win it. But I wanted to talk about something that is not 100% or, well, let's just be honest with ourselves. It has virtually nothing to do with the Cowboys. Has virtually nothing to do with the Cowboys. Rather, it has everything to do with some news that has come out, and when I heard the news, I literally was like, this is absolute stupidity at its finest. Because it literally made, and still makes, no sense. No matter how many ways I've looked at it. No matter how many times I've tried to, rationale it, reason it in my brain. It just doesn't make any sense. And the more I thought about it, the more I looked at it, I was like, this is the kind of stupidity that, in my honest opinion, spells one of the many things that is now wrong with the NFL on a very, very great level. I mean, you can talk about a number of things in terms of what's wrong with the NFL, in terms of refs, in terms of gambling, in terms of, a sponsorship by the actual league in regards to certain teams. I mean, you can literally branch off in a literal, plethora of directions when it comes to this topic. And every single one of them would all be true. But this one is one that I know when it comes to Lions fans, and I would say not just Lions fans, but to football fans in general, it literally is a problem that has gotten worse and worse and worse over the last couple of years. And I know for a lot of fans of football, they're just flat out tired of the sheer stupidity that is, revolving around this particular topic. What exactly am I referring to? What I'm referring to here is the Pro Bowl. And not just the Pro Bowl in the event. I know there's a lot of people that hate the Pro Bowl the way it is right now. It's not a football game anymore like it used to be. The atmosphere, the dynamic of it is now a completely, sham or shell of what it used to be. The Pro Bowl used to be about, hey, you know what? You get the best players, and they come to Hawaii, and they play a football game, and it actually at one point used to be a serious competitive football game. Now it's not even a game anymore. The only game that's played during the Pro Bowl is a game of flag football. And now it's broken up into all these different competitive, competitions, and it's not the same Pro Bowl anymore, not even close. And I know for a lot of fans, they don't particularly like the new format of the Pro Bowl. They don't. And I'll be honest, I'm one of them. I don't really watch the Pro Bowl anymore. I might tune in every now and then just to see what's going on, but I don't care for it. But the one thing that's gotten even worse along with that is the methodology for how players get selected to the Pro Bowl. And the reason I'm saying that is because on the 1st of this month, it was pushed out by, multiple different places, and the Lions obviously picked it up. They pushed it out themselves in their own way, and they say, oh, well, take a look at these different Lions players that are in the top 10 in terms of, Pro Bowl fan voting. And I started taking a look at the list, and I was like, okay, yeah, some of these names definitely deserve to be on there. Some of these names are definitely the best at what they do. But there was one name. There was one name that just absolutely threw me for a loop. I could not understand how in the hell this guy was considered in the top 10 of fan voting for his position. I couldn't fathom it. I'm just like, how is this guy even in the vote? How is this guy even receiving votes with how bad he's played this year? And I'm pretty sure by now you all know exactly what I'm referring to. I'm referring to Graham Glasgow. Graham Glasgow, according to the release of information that I'm referring to on December 1st of this year, is ranked number 7th in fan voting for centers this year. I saw that and I was like, wait a minute here. I'm like, how is this guy ranked number 7 in fan voting? Is it just that there are really no damn good centers out there right now, or are people just absolutely loony? Because I was like, Graham Glasgow ranked number 7th overall out of all centers is just absolute sheer stupidity and is asinine. And I started taking a look at the whole situation, and I was like, wait a minute here. What's one name that is not on this list of top 10, players at their positions for the Detroit Lions? And it became glaringly obvious almost as soon as I saw the list. I'm like, where in the hell is Jared Goff on this list? I'm like, you got freaking, Jahmyr Gibbs, you got Aiden Hutchinson, you got Sam Laporta, you got all these other great players that, yeah, you know what? They deserve to be on the list. Whether or not they're going to make it, I don't know. But they deserve to be in the top 10 of voting. But Goff was a glaring omission that was nowhere. And I'm like, how in the hell is Graham Glasgow in the top 10 for his position in terms of fan voting, but Goff is not? So I started digging. And I'm going to tell you something right now. When I looked at the information that I found, I was like, dude, this just shows, and I hate to say this. I really, really do. Because you know what? If you're a fan of football, I don't care necessarily 99.9% of the time about, how long you've been, a fan of football. I don't care, what fan base you're associated with. I really don't care 99.9% of the time. I really don't. But when it comes to this is something that is a really big damn hot button topic for me. And when I took a look at this particular situation, I'm like, this right here is why fan-based voting for Pro Bowl honors is the dumbest thing that is absolutely possible. Especially the way they have it done now. Let me just tell you exactly what I found. Graham Glasgow ranked number 7th out of all centers in Pro Bowl fan voting. Okay, we already know that. But did you know this? When you take a look at every other center, so not all other linemen, just his position, which is center this year, Graham Glasgow is ranked 32nd in pass blocking, and he's tied 46th in run blocking. So, wait a minute here. The guy's ranked 7th in fan voting for all centers for Pro Bowl, but yet the guy does not even crack the top 30 in either category for blocking as a center. Not even the top 30. So, how in the hell is this guy in the top 10 for fan voting when he's not even in the top 30 for either blocking category for the very position that he plays? That just makes no damn sense to me. It's like the Pro Bowl is supposed to be an honor that is reserved for the best players. That's what it's supposed to be for. Graham Glasgow's not even close to playing the best at his position. Not even in the same galaxy. So that to me, I'm like, okay, if Graham Glasgow's not even playing at a top, 20 level within the position that he's in, how is he in the top 10 for fan voting? And why this makes this even more stupid, more, no sense, and absolutely is asinine, is like I said, Goff has had an absolutely stupendous season as a quarterback, despite the fact that he's playing behind a very poor offensive collective line unit. Let me make sure I explain exactly what I mean by that. The offensive line has got great players on it, such as Penei Sewell, but as a collective unit, it's playing poorly. But yet, despite the fact that that collective unit has not played well this year, Goff has played absolutely stupendous. But yet, in fact, he's not in the current top 10 of his position in terms of fan votes. In fact, you want to know who the top 10 quarterbacks in terms of Pro Bowl votes by fans are? Here's what they are. Some of them absolutely deserve to be on the list, but some of them I'm just like, how is this guy on the list? Especially compared to Goff. Here's the top 10. Number 1, Drake May. Number 2, Matt Stafford. Number 3, Josh Allen. Number 4, Dak Prescott. Number 5, Pat Mahomes. Number 6, Daniel Jones. Number 7, Caleb Williams. Number 8, Jordan Love. Number 9, Jackson Dart. And number 10 is Sam Darnold. Okay. Okay. Now, take a look at that list, and let's actually compare how each of those guys has played compared to Goff, who, again, as I stated, is playing behind a bad collective offensive line group this season. If you take a look at Jared Goff's stats so far for the season, Goff is second in the NFL in completion percentage at 69.8%. He is sixth in the NFL in passing yards with 3,025. He is fifth in the NFL in pass average per throw with 8 yards per average. He is tied second in the NFL in passing touchdowns with 25, ranked second in pass touchdown percentage per throw with 6.6, tied sixth in interceptions thrown with only 5, tied fifth in interception percentage rate per throw at 1.3, and ranked third in passer rating at 110.2. Okay. I'm not a mathematical wizard, but I can count rankings and I can count where those rankings are. Goff is in the top 5 in 6 out of those 8 rankings, and he's top 3 in 4 out of those 8 rankings. Okay. So, I then decided to say, let's just do a little bit of basic-ass math here. Just some basic-ass math. Each ranking is 8 rankings in total. There's 10 quarterbacks. So I said, okay, that's 80 data points. I said, how many of the quarterbacks that are at least in front of Jared Goff on this list, of which there are 10 that we know of, we don't know where Goff actually ranks in terms of Pro Bowl fan voting, but I'm just going to go with the 10 that we know of. How many are actually better than Jared Goff in terms of how many actually have higher statistical numbers and rankings than Goff over the course of the season? And then, of those 80 data points, how many total data points are actually better than Goff? This was absolutely wild. Let me just put this out for you. In terms of completion percentage, there's only one quarterback on that list of 10 that's better than Jared Goff. That's Drake May. In terms of passing yards, there's 5 quarterbacks that are better than Jared Goff. Jones, Stafford, Mahomes, Dak, and May. In terms of pass average, there are 4, which is Josh Allen, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, and Drake May. In terms of touchdowns and touchdown percentage, there's only 1. Both are Stafford. In terms of interceptions, there's 2. Stafford and Love. Interception percentage rating, Stafford and Love again. And then for passer rating, there's only 2 as well, which is Drake May and Stafford. If y'all were paying attention there is quite literally only 2 names that are consistently ranked better statistically overall than Jared Goff, and there's only 2 that are ranked better in most of those categories than Jared Goff. Drake May and Matthew Stafford. That's it. Most everybody else is a one-off, or as is the case, 2 of them don't even surpass Jared Goff in any category. 2 quarterbacks don't even come close to getting on the board in comparison to Goff. You want to know who those 2 quarterbacks are that don't edge Goff in any category at all? Caleb Williams and Jackson Dart. Neither quarterback is doing better than Goff statistically in any of those categories. So I was like, okay here. 8 out of the 10 quarterbacks have at least 1 edge over Jared Goff in terms of the statistics, but only 2 of them are consistently statistically better than him in all of those 8 categories. That's a pretty big problem in my opinion. Because if the Pro Bowl is supposed to go to the best players, the fact that Goff is better than virtually every single quarterback in terms of the overall amount of statistical categories compared to those 10 quarterbacks, and he's not on there, that's a massive problem. But that's just looking at it from the basic overall viewpoint. If you actually go in and you do the numbers like I did, here's something that's really going to blow your mind. I said there's 10 quarterbacks, there's 8 categories. 10 times 8 is 80. That's 80 data points. 1 data point for each, category for each quarterback. You want to know how many data points Goff is actually surpassed by outright of those 10 quarterbacks over those 8 categories? Only 18. 18 data points out of 80 is Goff actually surpassed by those 10 quarterbacks. You know what that means? That means that Goff surpasses or ties, because in my honest opinion, you have to surpass Goff in order to actually be ranked better than him. If you tie, you're not better than him. You're just playing on the same level. But what it means is that Goff has surpassed or ties all the quarterbacks that are with him or that he's above 77.5% of the time in those statistical categories. 77.5% of the time, Goff has surpassed or played better statistically than those 10 quarterbacks. So that means damn near 80% of the time, Goff is playing better than the quarterbacks that are in front of him in terms of fan voting. You see where my problem is here? Goff better 77.5% of the time statistically in terms of all the statistical categories that I brought up and mentioned of the quarterbacks that are in front of him in terms of voting. And yet, like I pointed out earlier, when Goff is stacked up against every quarterback in the league, not just the 10 that are in front of him, but every single quarterback in the league, that's right. He is ranked top 5 or higher in 6 out of those 8 categories, and he's ranked top 3 or higher in 4 out of those 8 categories. So not only when he's stacked up against all other quarterbacks, is he playing top 5 or better in 6 out of 8, or top 3 or better in 4 out of 8, but against the 10 quarterbacks that are on top of him in terms of fan voting for the Pro Bowl, he surpasses them statistically 77.5% of the time. Tell me then, in what world does Jared Goff not get in the top 10 of Pro Bowl voting when compared to these other loony bins? The only 2 guys that are absolutely 100% in front, that should be in front of Jared Goff in terms of Pro Bowl voting based upon how they have statistically done over the course of the season is Stafford and May. That's what the numbers show and say. Now, obviously, that's where the problem comes in to the Pro Bowl voting system. It's an absolute travesty. It's a joke. Because you have to think about it. If fan voting is how you do this, it makes no sense. And I've said this before. I've said this in previous years when other Lions players have gotten snubbed, or when other players that have played really, really well from other teams have gotten snubbed. And it's like, how are these guys not getting in? Because think about it. Fan-based voting means that fans are going to vote for whoever is on their team most likely, because they want to see their players get in. But here's the problem. The problem is that that the average fan does not vote objectively. They just don't. And on top of that, they completely invalidate the methodology of fan-based voting, because how does fan-based voting work for Pro Bowl? It's not just 1 vote per person. It's not, hey, you know what? You get 1 vote. You choose the players that you have to vote for each Pro Bowl category for players, and then that's your vote. You get one vote. No. The way the Pro Bowl fan voting system works is that you can vote as many times as you want. So it's a ballot stuffing measure. It's a ballot stuffing voting system, which means that fans of teams that absolutely have massive numbers are going to absolutely ridiculously stuff the ballot box for guys that do not deserve to get in. Like, let's just call it for what it is. Is Jackson Dart a really exciting quarterback? Yes, he is, but does he deserve to go to the Pro Bowl? Not a chance in hell. No chance in hell. Caleb Williams has had a great season under Ben Johnson, but does that mean he's played better than all the quarterbacks that are in front of him or behind him? No. Same thing with Jordan Love. Jordan Love's had a pretty good season, but is he playing better than the other quarterbacks on that list or below him? No. In fact, most of the quarterbacks that are on that list, the reason that they're on that list is because of two main reasons. Either, number one, they're attached to a very large fan base market, which means that their fans are just going to vote willy-nilly all the damn time for them, or they are being put in the media in such a positive light and just constantly keeping, it recycled in terms of the media coverage. That's all fans are thinking about. They're only thinking about these quarterbacks because those are the ones that are constantly talked about. Despite the fact that there are other quarterbacks, like Goff, like I just mentioned, that are absolutely playing heads and shoulders above them. So to me, it's like, this is an absolute travesty. It's a joke. It makes the Pro Bowl that much more terrible because you're not putting the best talent in the actual Pro Bowl. And it's painfully and blatantly obvious that this is not at all the way that the system should work. And this is a pattern that, as I've said before, it is not happening just this year. It's happened for years and years in the past. Which again signifies that not only is the Pro Bowl voting system broken, but it's an absolute gross evaluation of player success or talent based upon the fact that it's a damn popularity contest, which defeats the whole damn premise of what the Pro Bowl is, which is to reward the best players with a distinct honor that others don't get, because not everybody goes to the Pro Bowl. And I know some people are going to say, well, the Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything. Oh, no. It definitely means something. And if you think it doesn't, you're wrong. Because I guarantee you this, when players go to the negotiating table for contracts, it definitely still comes up. Oh, how many Pro Bowl selections have you been to? 4, 5, 2, 1, none? It definitely comes up. It still has meaning. It still has value. It might not have the same value to us fans as far as entertainment used to be, but it still has value to the players in terms of them getting new and better contracts. So it definitely has value. So for me, it definitely means something is very much wrong here. The point is that when you have other fans from 31 NFL fan bases that can't recognize how Goff has played this year, despite the fact that, oh, that's right, different offensive coordinator, changed offensive play callers throughout the course of the season, is behind a bad offensive line collective unit, and has now lost several offensive weapons, you going to honestly tell me that Goff not being in the top 10 of voting when it's a fan-based voting system is not a problem, is a massive issue. Because again, it goes back to what I said. The average fan is not being objective in that they're not actually voting for the top players, but rather they're mostly voting for their own or whoever the freaking national media narrative is pushing in a ballot stuffing measure, which is just sheer lunacy and idiocy. That's my point with this episode. It's like, listen, the Pro Bowl used to mean something to fans because it used to mean that the best players would play. But now you have these fan bases out here that are being absolutely overran with these average fans, these new money fans as some of them call, and they're just voting for whoever they think sounds good or whoever the most quote-unquote popular players are. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're playing at the top of their game. That's the problem. Like, the only way you fix this system is either one, every fan gets only one vote and that's your vote, or there has to be a threshold that is met to be able to be even put on the ballot to be voted for in the first place. That damn simple. Now, how you establish that threshold, I don't know. But the point is that guys like Caleb Williams, even though that they're having a great season because of the fact that it's better than where they were before, doesn't mean that they should be even in the top 10 conversation for voting because, oh, you know what? They're just an exciting player. Same thing with Jackson Dart. Even though he's not having a great season overall, he's an exciting player. The point is, it shouldn't matter if they're exciting or not. It should matter if they're playing at the top of the level within the position that they're playing, so that way they can actually be on the ballot. And then that is then your choice on who you vote for. So that way it takes the whole bias, whatever, out of it. Either your player makes it or they don't. And if they don't make it, well, you're voting for somebody else who actually has earned the right to be on the ballot. If they are, then you know what? Great. You get to vote for somebody that's on your team. Otherwise, you're kind of up, creek without a paddle. Just that simple. But anyway, folks, I've said my piece. So I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching in another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed the content, I hope to gain your subscription. If you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and you not yet had a chance to do so, highly encourage y'all, please, make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you guys never miss any more content that I push out. Hope y'all are doing well. Hope y'all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.